Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The sun hung low in the sky, casting a shimmering glow over the colorful market stalls of Zalera, where vibrant fabrics danced in the breeze and enticing scents wafted through the air. Today was the day of the First Contact Festival, a day set aside for exchanging cultures, traditions, and the nuances of their respective worlds. For Rowan, a first-time visitor from Earth, it was an eye-opening experience that felt like stepping into a dream. Rowan found himself amid a throng of Zalarians, their skin adorned with delicate patterns that shimmered under the sun. He marveled at their striking features. Some had elongated ears, others bioluminescent markings, but none captivated him quite like Luna. She stood out with her captivating blue skin and a single horn that curved gracefully from her forehead, resembling a work of art. "Keep your hands to yourself, and don't touch anything unless you're invited," he muttered to himself, a reminder as much to his excitement as to the warnings he had received from the diplomatic envoy. As the event unfolded, laughter and chatter filled the air. Rowan was swept into demonstrations of Zalarian dances, food tastings, and art displays, all while observing Luna from a distance. She moved through the crowd like a queen among her subjects, her confidence radiating with every step. Then it happened, in a moment of distraction, as he reached for a piece of artwork, a beautiful sculpture of Zalera's mythical creatures. Rowan stumbled, his hand unintentionally brushing against Luna's horn. It was an act so innocent, so naive, that he didn't realize the gravity of what he had done until he saw her eyes widen in shock. "Human!" Luna exclaimed, her voice a mix of disbelief and anger. The nearby crowd fell silent, all eyes turning toward them. Rowan's heart raced. "I am so sorry. I didn't mean to." "You touched my horn." Luna's voice, though stern, carried an air of unexpected playfulness. "Do you have any idea what you've just done?" He blinked, confusion mingling with embarrassment. Not really? I thought it was Justin." "An invitation?" she interjected, a smirk starting to form on her lips, leaving him puzzled. The surrounding Zalarians began whispering amongst themselves, their expressions shifting from shock to intrigue. "Touching a Zalarian's horn is a serious offense," one of them called out, and the murmurs grew louder. Luna stepped closer to Rowan, her eyes glimmering with mischief. "Now you have to marry me." The crowd erupted in laughter, and Rowan's face flushed a deep shade of crimson. "Wait, what? Marry you?" "Indeed," she said with a teasing smile. "It's traditional. A human cannot simply touch a Zalarian horn without facing the consequences." Rowan raised his hands in surrender. "Look, I didn't mean it like that. I'm here to learn about your culture, not get hitched." She leaned in closer, her warm breath brushing against his skin. "And yet here we are. You've made quite an impression." The festival continued around them, but time seemed to stand still. Something in her expression intrigued him, a blend of challenge and genuine curiosity. Behind the initial shock of the situation, a spark ignited between them. "All right," he said reluctantly, a grin creeping onto his face. "What happens next in this marriage proposal?" "Follow me," she commanded, turning on her heels with an air of theatrical grace. Caught off guard yet captivated, Rowan quickly followed Luna through the bustling festival, a whirlwind of colors and sounds. As he stepped into her world, he wondered what was in store for him next, and if this unexpected encounter would lead to more than just a tale of alien customs gone awry. As Rowan followed Luna through the market, he quickly realized the festival was not just a display of Zalarian wares, but a vibrant celebration of life, love, and community. Stalls overflowed with goods that lit up the senses, shimmering fabrics, exotic fruits that changed hue in the light, and vibrant spices that filled the air with intoxicating aromas. "Stay close," Luna instructed, glancing back at him with an enigmatic smile. "I wouldn't want you to get lost, especially not as my soon-to-be husband." Rowan shook his head in disbelief, laughter bubbling up against his will. "You can't be serious about the marriage part, can you?" The playful sparkle in her eyes was undeniable. "Of course not. Not yet, anyway. But many do enter into marriage through far less dramatic circumstances." "Is that how it works here?" he asked, intrigued despite himself. You just get married after a simple touch? Luna stopped and faced him, her expression now contemplative. Not exactly. Touching the horn symbolizes a betrothal, a connection that could lead to a journey of partnership. Each culture has its own understanding of love and commitment. Ours is just more straightforward, I suppose. Rowan nodded, appreciating the insight. So you're saying it's a sign of potential, but it's not as binding as it sounds. Precisely, she replied, her smile returning. My people value the bond created through deep connection, much like how humans do, but we have our own ways of expressing it. They approached a stall where a vendor was demonstrating the art of making ether bread, a delicacy that infused the essence of the local flora into a soft, shimmering bread. Rowan watched closely as the vendor mixed ingredients, his hands dancing gracefully in a rhythm he couldn't quite follow. Would you like to try? Luna asked, nudging him slightly. Absolutely. Rowan responded with enthusiasm. As they each received a warm piece of ether bread, Luna took a bite and closed her eyes, savoring the texture and flavors. Delicious, right? Rowan nodded, savoring the unexpected sweetness, with hints of floral notes. This is amazing. I never thought food could be so alive. Luna let out a light laugh. Food is a language of its own, and it tells stories of our culture. The flavors reflect our land, our history. Rowan took a moment to absorb her words before he replied. So, what other languages does your culture speak? Follow me, she said again, leading him to a booth where a group of Zalarians were performing traditional dances. The rhythmic music and lively movements drew him in, and he found himself captivated by the celebration of joy and expression. Want to give it a shot? Luna asked, her eyes sparkling with challenge. Me? Dance? Rowan chuckled nervously. I'm not sure that's a good idea. To not try is to not experience. Come on, Rowan. How else will you learn about us? With a reluctant nod, Rowan joined the circle, still feeling awkward as he moved with the crowd. Laughter erupted as they clapped in time with the music, and Luna, effortlessly, took the lead, guiding him with her expressive movements. To his surprise, he found himself loosening up, caught in the rhythm and energy of the moment. It felt exhilarating to let go of his inhibitions, even if he stumbled at times. With each beat, he felt less like an outsider and more like a participant in something beautiful. After the dance concluded, they both stepped away, breathless and laughing. See, you survived. Luna teased. Barely. Rowan gasped between chuckles. You make it look easy. It's all about connection and confidence, she replied gently. The same principles apply to understanding love in our cultures. It requires a willingness to engage, take risks, make mistakes, and above all, embrace the journey. Her comments lingered in his mind as they continued exploring the festival, enjoying each other's company. As they moved from booth to booth, Rowan found himself captivated by Luna's passion for her world. He realized he was not just drawn to her beauty, but to her spirit, a fierce fire that illuminated everything around her. Luna, he began, hesitating as the mood turned more serious. Do you ever think about what it means to blend our cultures? How would it work? Every day, she answered earnestly. Our worlds are different, but where there is love, there's always a way. The question is, are we willing to fight for it? Rowan pondered her words, a mixture of excitement and apprehension swirling within him. The connection they were forming felt significant, and yet, he also felt the weight of reality pressing down, the vast cultural chasm that lay between them. Let's find some unique sweet treats to celebrate our newfound alliance, Luna suggested, her playful tone breaking through his thoughts. As they headed toward a stall that showcased glimmering treats, Rowan couldn't shake off that fluttering feeling in his chest. This encounter was just the beginning of something much greater than a cultural lesson. It might be the start of a connection he never expected to find. After devouring a selection of Zalarian sweet treats that sparkled delightfully, each bite bursting with flavor, Rowan and Luna found themselves in a quieter part of the festival, beneath the majestic branches of a towering luminescent tree known as the resonant tree. The roots spread out like the arms of a welcoming embrace, and the canopy shimmered with bioluminescent flowers, that glowed softly in the fading light. "Is this tree always so magical?" Rowan asked, gazing up in awe while leaning against one of its thick, bark-covered pillars. Luna smiled knowingly. "Legend has it that the resonant tree connects us to our ancestors. If you place your hand on its trunk and listen closely, you can hear the whispers of the past, the stories that shaped who we are." "Really? That sounds incredible," Rowan said, stepping closer to the tree, curiosity pulsing through him. "What kind of stories?" "Stories of love, battles fought, and the sacrifices made for peace." She followed him, placing her hand against the bark. "Our history is full of trials, just like yours. Each generation learns and grows from those who came before." Rowan placed his hand next to hers, the warmth of the tree seeping into his skin. "I think every culture has stories like that, a way to remind people of their roots." "Exactly," she replied, and he could sense the pride in her voice. "Here, places like this symbolize our connections. Our past influences our present and shapes our future. You are welcomed as part of this tradition now, Rowan." He turned to her, his expression serious. "But what if our futures clash? Your people may not accept me." "Acceptance is a journey," Luna said, her voice steady. "We will face challenges, yes, but facing them together will make us stronger. You're not just a human in my eyes, you're Rowan, someone who's willing to understand my culture." Her sincerity warmed him, and he couldn't help but want to know more about her. "So tell me, what about your past? What made you who you are today?" She smiled softly, intrigued by the depth of his question. "I grew up in a small village, watching the traditions around me. My family has always valued freedom and courage. My mother was a warrior who fought for our people, and my father served as an ambassador to other worlds." He admired her as she spoke, the passion in her eyes captivating. "So your spirit comes from a lineage of strength?" Luna nodded. "Yes, but it also comes from understanding the value of love. My parents' bond was forged from challenges they faced together, learning to bridge their differences. That's the kind of connection I aspire to have." Rowan felt a sudden surge of emotion. Her revelation struck a chord within him. "My parents were very different too. They taught me about loyalty and love, but it wasn't without its struggles. I've seen relationships falter when faced with misunderstandings." "Then you understand the importance of communication," she said, her gaze steady. "It all comes down to being honest with each other." He leaned closer, emboldened by her words. "What if we started that communication now? What do you really think of humans?" Luna hesitated, her expression thoughtful. "You're resilient, adaptable, and curious. But I also see that your kind can be reckless, too focused on ambition without considering the consequences." "True," he admitted, scratching the back of his head. "We've made mistakes. We're learning, just as you are. Then perhaps we're not so different after all." She smiled softly, that playful light returning to her eyes. Before Rowan could respond, a loud commotion from the festival grounds interrupted them, drawing their attention. A group of enraged Zolarians had gathered, their voices raised in protest against interspecies relationships, fueled by prejudice and fear. "I told you it wouldn't be easy," Luna murmured, the playful light in her eyes dimming. "Should we go?" Rowan asked, sensing the tension in the air. "I think we must," she replied, her tone firm. "I can't stand back while they potentially spread hate." As they approached the crowd, Rowan's heart raced. He recognized the fear that gripped the Zolarians. It mirrored fears he had seen back on Earth. "It's dangerous for you to be here, human," one of the protesters shouted, pointing a finger at Rowan. "You don't belong. Neither does prejudice." Luna stepped forward, her voice steady, silencing the crowd. "We're all part of the universe, and it's our differences that bind us together." Rowan stood by her side, feeling a rush of courage as he added, "I'm here to learn and to forge connections, not compete with anyone. Our cultures can enrich each other, not tear each other apart." The crowd murmured, uncertainty clouding their expressions, but Luna's unwavering determination began to shift the energy. "Love blossoms in unexpected places. Let us celebrate our differences instead of condemning them." He glanced at Luna, amazed at her strength, and felt that electric connection between them deepen. He shifted his posture, aligning with her as the noise of descent slowly began to quiet. "Join us," Luna called out, her voice resounding with hope. "Let us create a future where we can come together rather than push apart." Rowan felt a mixture of anxiety and exhilaration. He had stepped into a world of uncertainty, yet stand with Luna reminded him why he embarked on this journey in the first place. As the tension hung in the air, a young Zalarian stepped forward, inspired by her words. "If we can learn from each other, then maybe we can find a way to make it work." The murmurs in the crowd shifted towards curiosity, and Rowan felt a glimmer of hope that turned into a determination to bridge the worlds he had once thought were immovable. As the last echoes of dissent faded, the atmosphere around Rowan and Luna morphed from tension to cautious curiosity. The crowd, previously divided, began to exchange glances and quiet conversations. Perhaps the seeds of understanding had been sown. Luna turned to Rowan, her eyes gleaming with gratitude. "You were incredible. Your words had an impact. You took a stand alongside me." "I didn't know if it would be enough," Rowan admitted, feeling a rush of adrenaline. "But I believe what you said. That connection can bridge divides. It's one of the reasons I came here." "Then we need to continue this dialogue," she said with determination. "Change takes effort. Let's talk to more of my people." As they stepped away from the crowd, the din of the festival resumed, lively and vibrant. Luna led him to a quieter area filled with comfortable cushions and low tables, where Zalarians gathered to share their thoughts over drinks. "Tell me about your world," she prompted, settling beside him. "What does your culture celebrate?" Rowan took a breath, relaxing by the warmth of the festive atmosphere. "Well, we have things like family gatherings and holidays centered around food. They're often filled with laughter, stories, and a lot of sharing." "Food again," Luna laughed, her voice lilting. "I love that. Does every culture see meals as more than just nourishment?" "Pretty much," he smiled, enjoying her excitement. "Food brings us together. It's about not just feeding our bodies, but also nurturing our relationships." "Then maybe we can host a feast, show my people how beautiful fusion can be," Luna suggested with sparkling enthusiasm. "That sounds like a fantastic idea." Rowan responded, "I'd love to introduce them to some of our traditional dishes. It would be a way to bond, to connect." "Perfect. But let's go one step further," she said, leaning in closer, her voice conspiratorial. "How about we invite them to cook together? It's a chance to learn firsthand what brings heat into our kitchens." With curiosity ignited, Rowan nodded slowly. "And we can share flavors, stories, and traditions. It could be a real turning point." Their discussion flowed effortlessly, weaving between trials faced, dreams shared, and laughter that echoed into the night. With every word exchanged, Rowan felt the bond between them blossoming, a connection he never imagined he would encounter across the stars. Hours passed in what felt like moments, and as the festival wind brushed through the gathering, Luna's expression shifted slightly, her gaze narrowing as she observed a group of Zalarians approaching. As they neared, Rowan recognized them as members of Luna's immediate circle, her friends and family who had been apprehensive about her connection with him. The air turned tense, momentarily mirroring the earlier uproar. "Luna, you should be more cautious," one of them warned, her tone laced with concern. "This human could bring chaos into our lives." Rowan's heart sank at the hostility in her clan's eyes, but Luna remained steadfast. "Chaos, or understanding." Turning to them with fierce resolve, she added, "This is an opportunity for growth, not only for me, but for all of us." "We are not afraid of their kind," another friend interjected, crossing his arms. "We've seen how humans can be. Then it's time to change that narrative." Luna exclaimed, her voice strong. "Rowan is not just a definition. He's a person, and he's here to learn about us. If we don't give him a chance, how can we expect others to do the same?" "Your heart," one of her friends breathed, his skepticism softening. "You're willing to risk everything for this stranger?" "It's not just about trusting him. It's about trusting ourselves and our capability to embrace another culture." She turned back to Rowan, her expression earnest. We need to show them that love transcends boundaries. Rowan admired her passion, feeling touched by her determination to stand up for him. I promise I'll work hard to understand and respect your customs. As he spoke, an unexpected warmth wrapped around his chest, this feeling of being accepted, even welcomed, in a foreign land. The group exchanged glances, uncertain but intrigued by Luna's conviction. Finally, one elder, with deep-set eyes that held centuries of wisdom, said, "If you wish to stand by our Luna, you shall prove yourself worthy." Rowan nodded, understanding the challenge laid before him. "I'm ready. I'll do whatever it takes." "Then it is decided," she said, her voice growing softer. "We'll host a feast where all can come together, human and Zalarian. The food and the unity will speak louder than any words." The elders smiled faintly, their resolve beginning to thaw. "Then we shall see." As the group dispersed, a buzz of possibility hung in the air. Rowan looked at Luna, his heart swelling with appreciation. "I can believe you stood up for me like that." "It's what I believe in, confronting biases head-on and creating space for love," Luna replied, her expression softening. "Together, we have the chance to rewrite the narrative." As the night deepened, it became clear that this journey, their journey, was just beginning. And as Rowan embraced the challenges ahead, he felt an overwhelming sense of hope, knowing that together they could build a bridge that joined their worlds. The night sky of Zalera sparkled with stars like the glinting jewels, casting a magical glow over the festival site. The preparations for the feast had begun, and excitement buzzed in the air. Rowan and Luna worked side by side, gathering ingredients while sharing smiles and laughter. Each moment deepened their connection, infusing energy into everything they were doing. "Do you think they'll accept our fusion of cultures?" Rowan asked, chopping vibrant Zalarian vegetables, while Luna prepared some human-inspired dishes. "They will if we approach it with authenticity and respect," she said earnestly. "And it's essential to remember that love and connection can lead to mating, both in bond and in spirit." A tingle of anticipation raced through Rowan at her words. "Mating? What does it mean for your people? Is it as simple as a touch?" Luna paused, her eyes searching his. "Mating is more profound than a physical union. It's about the fusion of two souls, an intertwining that a mere touch initiates but doesn't finish. It requires nurturing, understanding, and commitment." Rowan contemplated her words, feeling both exhilarated and nervous. "So what does that process look like for you?" "It varies among individuals," she explained while mixing spices. "But it often involves rituals that strengthen the bond, such as shared experiences, promises, and the exchange of gifts. It's about creating a family, choosing someone to stand by you through thick and thin." He looked deeply into her eyes, the magnitude of her explanation nesting in his heart. "And what about us? Could we explore that?" Luna regarded him, her expression thoughtful, and for a moment, Rowan felt the world around them fade away. "If you were to mate with a Zalarian, it would mean a commitment to my culture, my people, and to me. But I cannot deny that my feelings for you have grown stronger. It sparks something within me, a connection that goes beyond reason." "Definitely," he breathed, feeling vulnerability wash over him. "I'd be willing to explore that connection with you." Luna's lips curved into a soft smile, and she stepped closer, the heat between them heating the air. "But for that, we must solidify the acceptance of our cultures at the feast. Only then can we embark on the next part of our journey." After hours of preparation, the time for the feast arrived. The community gathered, curious and hesitant, creating an atmosphere tinged with the remembrance of tensions from earlier. Rowan felt the weight of their scrutinizing gazes, but held onto Luna's encouraging presence beside him. As they served the dishes, a blend of Earth-inspired delicacies infused with Zalarian flavors, Rowan and Luna took turns explaining the significance of each dish. Laughter echoed throughout the gathering, slowly breaking down barriers they had faced earlier. As the evening unfolded and the food was shared, a sense of camaraderie blossomed. Conversations flowed freely. Stories of love displaced fears, laughter eclipsed judgment, and understanding began to reshape perspectives. Finally, Luna took Rowan's hand, drawing the attention of their guests. "Thank you all for coming tonight. This journey is just beginning, But tonight we show that our differences can bridge gaps, enhance understanding, and create bonds. She looked into the eyes of her friends and family. Mating, a concept shared by both our peoples, is not just about two individuals. It's a connection that strengthens communities. Here, Rowan and I stand together, ready to embrace each other's worlds and, hopefully, foster acceptance among us all. Rowan felt a rush of emotion as she spoke, a fire igniting within him. I stand here not just as a human, but as someone who believes in love's power to transform and unite. The crowd murmured, some frowning in skepticism, while others began to nod in understanding. The elder from before stepped forward, his eyes wise. If you two are committed to understanding each other's worlds, it is only fitting we acknowledge this union. Luna grasped Rowan's hand tightly, and their fingers intertwined as the elder spoke an ancient blessing that both honored the two cultures and celebrated the bond they forged. As the blessing concluded, it felt as if the energy between them shimmered, wrapping around their hearts like a warm embrace. In that moment, Luna looked directly into his eyes. "Shall we take this next step together?" Rowan swallowed hard, heart racing. Yes. In unison, they stepped closer, guided by something deep and instinctual. The love that had grown between them, stoked by the challenges they faced, came alive as their lips met in a tender kiss. It was a kiss filled with promise, a fusion of hearts that transcended species and customs. The crowd erupted in cheers, a wave of acceptance washing over them as they pulled apart, breathless and exhilarated. "Tonight, under the stars, we declare our bond as beloved and partners," Luna announced, her voice triumphant. Rowan knew, with Luna by his side, they weren't just bridging the gap between their two worlds. They had embarked on a journey that would redefine love, deepen commitments, and showcase the beauty that arises when two souls choose to mate, both in spirit and in heart. As the festival continued under the glowing night sky, they danced together, surrounded by a community that was beginning to embrace the idea of unity. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, confident that love conquered all.